My name is Luke McCallin, and this is my movie review speech. Now, many people don't really understand speech and debate at the same level of those who compete in it. And I can say that I never did speech and debate in high school only because I did not see the true reality of it. However, after watching the film Resolve, I had a much better understanding of the purpose of speech and debate as a whole. Now, by the end of this speech, you will have learned why the film Resolve is important not only to our class, but pretty much for anyone else that has seen the film. Now, I never knew much about speech and debate in high school, nor did I care to become part of it. However, after watching Resolve, I learned that it can be a productive and useful way for self-reflection. Now, a lot of people have a negative connotation with respect to kids in public debate, not only just to understand that speech and debate is part of life. I mean, a lot of people don't really understand that pretty much every time you wake up, speaking and debating is pretty much what you do from the start of your day. Now, I'll start by giving a brief summary of the movie, and then I will analyze the film with positive and negative criticism. Finally, I'll explain the relevance of the film in respect to our public speaking class. Now, the film starts off with someone explaining the concept of speech and debate by relating it to real-world problems. And we are introduced to 4 teenagers that are affiliated with their own high school speech and debate programs. Now, there's one team that consists of 2 people from Long Beach, California, and there's another team that's from the Midwest. And the audience learns each team's strategy in speech and debate, and learns more about the environment that each kid is exposed to. And that environment really shapes what each kid is, not only being exposed to, but it has an effect definitely on their personality, and that has an effect as well for developing a strategy of their own. Now, Matt and his teammate try to find a weakness in the other opponent's argument, and then tries to use human dignity as his main point and argument in the film. The other team from Long Beach, California makes their argument that they are debating over the actual system of speech and debate. Now, finally, we know how each team debates and what it means to them. In the film, we follow their stories throughout their career in high school speech and debate and learn about each character's success in later life and pretty much where they are right now. Now that you have a brief summary of the film Resolved, I can talk about some of the things that I liked about the film, as well as some of the things that I felt like the film could improve on. For the first part, I liked the film, and I felt like it kept me engaged, and I felt like most people who would watch it would seem pretty engaged in the film, and it was a very different type of documentary that I've actually seen before, and I really liked how the characters were real people that had very different personalities. And I feel like it gives a much more wide representation of the entire speech and debate community. I feel like that's a good technique that the film uses to try and attract the audience and get them engaged in the film. Another feat I liked about the film was the dedication that some of these students put forth in speech and debate. The concept of the film is promoting speech and debate very successful, and I think that when people see the film, they will understand why speech and debate is important. However, there are some parts in the movie that can be improved. The first couple of minutes of the film starts off with a lot of people speaking very quickly, and you really don't understand what it's really for until probably a third way of the film. But it's known as spreading, and it's trying to get the most information out in the most little time. And I feel like people who don't know speech and debate wouldn't really know exactly what that technique is used for. So I feel like this leaves the audience very confused and unaware of the purpose of the film. And lastly, I want to say that I did not like the organization of the film. I felt like it kept jumping in between important time periods, and especially between both of the teams, it was harder to see who was competing against who, and really the story of which team was going forth in the future of what their school's speech and debate community was all about. And now that you know my opinion of the film, we can relate it to our own public speaking class. The film Resolve relates to public speaking because speech and debate uses the same basic principles. They both require organization, self-confidence, and reasoning. The film explains all that speech and debate is really just controlled talk in the form of an argument. It makes kids think about real-world problems and challenges them to try and find a solution. And additionally, The film related speech and debate as a way for anyone to express themselves. Our public speaking class does the same thing, and we are able to express ourselves in speech by finding something that motivates us. For some of us, it could be the film Resolved that we just watched. I mean, it has a very compelling story, and I feel like it is something that you can find motivation out of. And finally, the film is very relatable to a lot of people because it goes through the story of two very different teams and how they found their own strategy in making an argument. This can inspire a lot of people to try and make their own strategy to form an argument by learning from past mistakes and learning new tools and techniques from pretty much even their own public speaking class. Now that you have a brief summary of the film, the positive and negative criticism, and an explanation of how the film is relatable to public speaking, you should have a good understanding of the purpose of the film and how the art of speaking can actually play out in a career or even in just anyone's life. Now, I know that some of you in this room agree with me, and some of you might not agree, but we should all agree that the art of public speaking and making an argument can be mastered as well as lead you to success. Overall, I would have to say the film expresses important ideas that everyone should be aware of, so I would say go see the film for yourself.